We've got Sarah Wayne Callies, and a good morning to you.
Good morning to you. It's really lovely to be talking to you because I got married very near Eureka, California.
Oh,
so.
you got to tell me the story about that. Where at?
Patrick's Point State Park.
Awesome. So, what brought you up here to Northern California to do the nuptials and so forth?
Well, the summer before we got married, my husband and I decided we wanted to get married on the coast. So, we were 25 when we got married. So we threw everything we owned into the back of my Subaru Legacy, and we drove up the coast from Mexico to Washington.
Cool.
And by the time we were done with the drive, we went, that Patrick's Point State Park was so beautiful. We both, the redwoods were sort of the sentinels that I think we wanted to be there to witness the thing. So it was we made everybody come for a week. We camped out. We were those dirty hippies on the beach. We had a ball. I loved it.
It does sound magical, and a lot of people have taken advantage of it. Sometimes, when we live so close to something, we sometimes forget the beauty that it is. Have you ever made it back up here, the two of you?
I have. I live in British Columbia, so the Pacific Northwest is home for me. And often when I'm working in Los Angeles, I will drive the coast. And every time, I go off and I stop at the little beach. We had our reception at the state park afterwards. Just barbecued a bunch of stuff. And my ex-stepmother, who is a big part of my life, I asked her to make our wedding cake, and she made an ice cream cake. So we had barbecue and ice cream cake at the little pavilion there at the state park. So, yeah, I stop by every couple of years. I love it.
That sounds almost like a book or a movie right there.
It was pretty magical. It's an extraordinary part of the world you're in.
Well, that's cool. Well, thank you very much. Well, you too. I like your neck of the woods. I've got ancestry that hails from that area. You are keeping busy as an actress. People will recognize you from The Walking Dead, but you've been in things like The Long Road Home, and you were in the series on USA Network, Colony. And then we're here to talk about the Council of Dads. Work is a good thing for you, it sounds like.
Well, I love what I do. Every day that I get to wake up and call myself a working actor or even a storyteller, if it's writing, directing, producing, I'm about as grateful as they come because I know a lot of really talented people who are better than I am who aren't working for no reason. So I guess I'm lucky.
Which label do you wear first? Do you wear the actress, or would you rather be a director or the writer? Which would you put the most importance to?
Look, I've made my living as an actor since. I've supported myself acting since I got a full ride to grad school in '99. So I think that's probably the most accurate thing. I grew up in an academic household. My parents were both professors. And so, if eventually I could transition into making a living writing, I think it's just kind of in my DNA to think that that's probably the top of the pyramid for me. But, again, any day I get to call myself a storyteller, I'm there for that.
Were mom and dad acceptive to the direction you went in life with, the entertainment side?
They were. One of the things that my mom teaches at the university in the English department is Shakespeare. And so I grew up really, really intimately familiar with a lot of theater. And I think, my parents were always very supportive, but they were also realistic, which is to say, you got to support yourself. And as long as you can rely on yourself for an income, you do whatever you want. So I did a lot of bartending. I did a lot of catering. Made sure I didn't have student loans. So I, went to the school where I got a scholarship. But, they've been super supportive and very proud. I think my mom has been exhausted by how much danger my characters are often in. On Prison Break and Walking Dead, so she's really happy to be watching Council of Dads, which is, a show where there isn't a gun to my head every episode.
Yeah.
She's happy about that.
Yeah, it's a little more passive, the Council of Dads, than the programs that you just talked about here. And in this role, now if I got this right, because I watch a little bit of the pilot, but I've also got a couple of listeners who have watched the whole pilot and really into this already. You're kind of the wife and the mom in the scenario.
That's right. I seem to have one more kid in every show I do, right? So I ended Prison Break with one kid, and then I ended Walking Dead with 2 kids. I had 3 kids on Colony, and I start Council of Dads with 4 kids. So I got this big pack of kids, and it's a family that looks like our families do now, right? We don't look like the Waltons. I don't know that we ever did.
Right.
I've got a stepdaughter who's of mixed race. I've got an adopted daughter from China. I've got a transgendered son. I've got another son who is a biologically, straight biological white kid who feels lost in this whole mess of families with diversity. And so, this is a show very much about the way that family is defined not by blood, but by the choices we make, by who we choose to step up with and who we choose to step up for, and the times in our life where we look in the mirror and go, all right, you're going to have to be a better person because these kids deserve more than you're capable of right now.
And in the storyline, Scott Perry comes down with cancer, beats it, then comes back and it's got even stronger. So he's kind of built a supporting base in case he's not there or as he's battling things of the Council of Dads, as the title says. And from there, the storyline takes off.
Yeah, again, in that same vein, these guys on the council, they're not blood relatives. These are men that he goes to and he says, if I don't make it and my kids need to know what would Dad have done, I want you to be there to help my wife answer that question. And that's a huge ask. Some of these guys have families of their own to raise. And one of them's an elder, and that's a lot to ask of him. Another one's this, kind of playboy chef who, doesn't necessarily want to be tied down. But these are men who choose to step up for this family. There's a lot of failure, right? I don't know if you're a parent, but parenting's a lot of going, kids, I'm so sorry I blew that. But there's also a lot of people digging deep to do the best they possibly can for one another. And it's interesting that it's coming out at a time like this. I've been a part of a lot of shows that have been brilliant, and I've loved them, but they're violent. And I wanted to put something into the world that was about our other capability for one another, our capability to love like it's an extreme sport.
I'm going to say that goes exactly to a text I got that somebody said it's nice to have a show that isn't a crime show promoting violence, etc. And like you said, it's perfect for the scenario of the world right now. What we need.
Yeah, look, we're all together with our families all the time. You can watch this with your kids, and it'll make you laugh, and it'll make you cry. And my hope is that by the end of every episode, you kind of go, all right, we got this. We can do this. We're a family. We'll be all right.
All right, the program's called Council of Dads. It's on NBC. It'll be next Thursday night, I believe, is the next one. And the question that somebody had also was, hopefully you've got a lot of these in the can already, because they, so often new shows they test with, 2 or 3 of them. They see how things go. Any idea on how long we've got this in the first series?
We finished our whole first season. So this Thursday, day after tomorrow, at 9, Episode 1 will air. At 10, Episode 2 will air. And then going forward, all of our episodes will be on, one after another, Thursdays at 8 on NBC. So we've got our whole season, the story from beginning to end. I love it. My whole heart is in this. So hopefully your listeners enjoy it too.
I'm sure they're going to. Sarah, next time you come down through California here on the northern California coast around Humboldt County, give me a shout. We'll go take a beer out to the beach and we'll talk some more, okay?
You've got it. It's a date. I love this.
All right. Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you. Have a great day.
You too. Be well. Be safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.